Hello, my name is Mary J. Oliver, and I'd like to thank Paul for inviting me here tonight to read to you from my book, Jim Neat, which was published by Seren Books in October last year. Jim Neat was my father, but I knew very little about him until 25 years after his death, when an event in my own life triggered a desire to find out who he was. And this slim volume is a distillation of 10 years of research with a certain amount of imagination thrown in. Jim was born in 1904 with a club foot and sent to a school for crippled poor boys. And when he was about 15, he ran away to sea, bound for Western Australia. But this first voyage was so traumatic that he was forced to jump ship in Cape Town. And the first poem I'm going to read is in the voice of a 14-year-old girl whom he met there. She was called Bliss. Bliss in Cape Town, 1921. I done find Jim in dockyard, lying on shed floor. He looked scared. I closed door gentle. No worry, I say. I call Bliss, and I kiss him rose flower mouth. Pleasure sailor, that my job. But this different. I only 14, don't forget. He 15, 16 most. Old sailor done rape him, cabin boy, every day, Jim tell me. So he jumped ship. I like your yellow hair, I say. I bring him string beans and a pear from my stepdaddy plot. Cassava and rice from ship I work nights. A mango, a plum and a small pickle fish one day. He loved Table Mountain, peek upside little window while we eat and laugh a lot and roll around. Oh, Bliss, he say, marry me, then you not do this nice thing with bad men you not love never again. You mad sugar bush, no, I say, and throw him white arm far away. You desert ship. You got no right, no pass. Law here hang you. Liberty Bell, she in dock, and I know she sail tonight. You go. Soon as dark, Jim and me, we go quiet from shed we lay. Crew on waterfront, all busy, all girls and boys, they say bye-bye. Jim, he fly like a mosquito around me. Here, there, he kiss me. Then, short time hush, him sweet head in Bliss black hands. Up, up, gangplank he zigzag. Gone. Some years later, Jim is living the life of a hobo in Canada during the Great Depression. And the next short poem is from that time. It's called Imaginary Widow, Lumbergamp, North Saskatchewan, 1928. Electro chainsaws arrived last week from Germany. Job will be kid stuff now, boss said. That was a lie. My mate was killed the first day. A dead branch fell out of the tree he was ripping into. Widowmakers, they're called. How I long for the woman who'll be widowed if one falls on me. Well, Jim found his soulmate. She was called Lisbieta, a Ukrainian immigrant, and they spent 2 ecstatic years together in a small farmstead in Saskatchewan. I'm going to read you a few extracts from Lisbieta's diary. July 1933. We have a milk cow, bony, beautiful Sappho. 2 hogs, chickens, geese, a beehive, and an apple orchard. We share a horse with 2 families who live nearby. February 1934. Jim took the horse and sledge to Digby Woods to fell birch for fuel. He tied a pillow to his chest to keep warm while driving. I laughed so hard to see my slim Jim fat, I wet myself. No laughing matter in these temperatures. He said the trees shattered like glass when he axed them. October 1934. No period last week. Been throwing up every morning. So happy I've just jumped up onto the windowsill. November 1934. All night long Jim wraps himself around our baby and me. He says when I go into labour, he'll read to me from Joseph Conrad. I dream about the river. But soon we discover that Jim is in a mental hospital in Ontario, unable even to speak. Fortunately, there's an enlightened superintendent there, a doctor who takes an interest in Jim and encourages him to explore his state of mind through writing. And eventually, Jim is able to write this. The Homecoming, 1935. I get back to Saskatoon with $80 in my pocket for Lisbieta, but she is dead. She died 5 days ago, Valentina tells me. We buried her by the river. Tuberculosis, postpartum hemorrhage, I don't know, but bleeding, unstoppable bleeding. Valentina's sobbing. I shake her, she falls to the floor. I pull her to her feet. The baby, she says, they took the baby to an orphanage and you cannot see her because you are of no fixed abode. I'm running, Valentina following me. Down Queen Street to the Bethany home for unwed mothers and illegitimate babies. I hammer on the fortified door. Women in uniform push me down the steps. Doors slam, bolts yanked across. I break a window, blood and glass. I'm in handcuffs, in a hospital for the insane, in a straitjacket. My mouth so dry, I cannot speak. Signed, Jim Neat, Whitby Hospital, Ontario. After a few years, Jim is deported from Canada back to the UK. And on the eve of the Second World War, he writes this postcard to his beloved sister, Queenie. Dearest baby queen, I've met someone, a teacher, wild black hair and bewildering brown eyes. She was helping out in the canteen and sold me a packet of Craven A. She said until she met me, the nicest thing anyone had ever said to her was that she looked like Beethoven. She's called Kate. We hope to marry before I'm posted to Africa next week. Can't wait to introduce you. You'll adore each other. Your ever loving brother, Jim. Well, they didn't adore each other. But the story turns completely at this point because research becomes memory, because Kate is my mother and I am born. Thank you very much for letting me read to you. Good night.